Well, kia ora and welcome into the Harness Half Hour, now proudly brought to you by Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. I'm Jess Smith, and this week on the podcast, Robert Dunn joins us following his huge week of Group 1 trotting wins. Breeder of Spankem, Robin talks about the thrill of breeding a Miracle Mile winner. We also hear from Sam Smolenski in his exciting new career as an equine chiropractor. Brendon Hill also joins us following his recent milestone, 200 New Zealand training wins, and as usual Richard Wilson is with us from the bookies desk. But first, here are the headlines. The Alexandra Park Premier Night wrap. Sundee's Sun collects 2 Group 1s in just 1 week with a huge win in the Row Cup on Friday night. Second was Speeding Spur in his Kiwi Swan Song, and third was an unlucky Majestic Man. Spankem also collected another Group 1 victory. The Miracle Mile winner was dominant in the New Zealand Messenger, beating Turn It Up and Mark Shard, but has since been withdrawn from the IRT Harness Duels. Sweet On Me bounced back into winning form of the Sire Stakes 2-year-old championship, and so too did Enhance Your Calm, who was successful in the Northern Trotting Derby. While at Eddington, the feature was the New Zealand Yelling Sales Open final for 2-year-old pacers, and was won with a huge late charge by One Change and Sam Otley for the All-Stars team. At Invercargill on Saturday, the Nugget final went the way of Chuckles for the Barclay Ellis team, and the next 3 Australian Harness Duels invitations have been accepted by Majestic Player, Pete's Big Jim and Falcon Stride. They join Lululemon and Major Obsession. Well, of course, the trotter of the moment, Sundee's Sun, going back-to-back with a huge effort at Alexandra Park last Friday night. And joining me on the show is trainer Robert Dunn. Robert, congratulations, and I guess a real new playing field for you, given that you've got Group 1 success in the trotting side of things.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it was, Jess. It was a real thrill, really, because, we haven't had any trotters that have been anywhere near Group 1 status in the past, so to have one that's won 2 in a row was very exciting for us all.
And quite unique too in the fact that not only you had Sundee Sun winning, but Pres the Bell as well for the team.
Yep, she was a good turnaround because Stewie Campbell, who's been a mate for over 40 odd years now, Stewie, and sent her up, and he thought she'd get around the Auckland way, very nicely, but it just took a little while for her to learn getting around that way, and we put a Murphy blind on, and in the finish test took it off because it made her too keen, and just did 2 or 3 starts under her belt, and all it was to get her going this way, so it was really exciting for us all.
Okay, and back to Sunday's Sun. Gee, this horse really stepped up to the mark over that staying test in the Row Cup. Has he always shown you, Robert, that he had the potential to be prominent in a race like that?
Well, he has really, right from his early days, and even as a 2-year-old when he was a bit of a naughty boy and doing things wrong more often than right. He just showed this, the X factor. He had this tremendous staying ability as well as some high speed, and we went through stages really of him having half ovals on and trying to boot us out of the cart during the middle of a race and spotting things that weren't there and doing all these things. So it was a real slow progress of him really showing his true ability. But he showed all the way through that once he could get his game together, or he got his game together, that he could actually be the real thing, because his stamina is just untold, and he has really got high speed as well, even though he mightn't show it, but he's got wonderful high speed. So he's got all the things here to make him a real star in the future, yes.
Oh, sure does. And he seems to really relax into himself too, especially after being used mid-race as he was last week.
Yes, he's got that ability now to be able to get around the field and drop the bit, which is really, good horses that are going to be back early on, because he is on all of it, from a standing start, so it means he's going to be back in his races. They've got to have the ability to get around the field when, Johnny needs to take him around and then drop the bit again, and he's actually starting to learn that as well, so he's certainly getting, he's getting everything you need to be a good horse in his armoury, Jess.
And were you surprised, Robert? I know you've got a big opinion of him and the abilities there, but were you surprised at the contempt with which almost he treated that classy field?
Yeah, well, it was a surprise, because there was some real star trotters, and some of them might be just getting a little bit old in the tooth, as the saying goes, as we know, and they've been fantastic trotters. And they might be just getting to the stage of their careers that they might be just a wee bit over the top. But you've got younger horses coming through as well. So it was an even field, I thought, both days. And I really, even the first day, I said, there could have been one of 7 or 8 horses won the NZ Cup, and it wouldn't have surprised you. And once again, I think in the Row Cup, the same sort of scenario. So his dominance was a surprise. But I thought if you went back to his 2 runs at Eddington, especially the first day when he won by about 6 or 7 lengths. It just showed you that he was in a real vein of form that was going to take a fair bit of beating if he could produce it, each start.
Yeah, and of course now the attention will turn to, he won those races in the Jules colours, Robert, so the harness Jules for him now over the short course?
Yep, absolutely. Well, the thing is, he's not unruly from a mobile start, and he has actually started to begin fairly quickly from the mobile, which is good. He hasn't really burst to the lead, but he has been out fairly quickly and been with them. And naturally, over the short course, journey, he has to be able to do that, and it'll come back, I suppose, to the draw a wee bit. But also, he can put himself in the race, and there are going to be, 3 really outstanding horses that are probably going to be the new generation of trotters, and Majestic Man, who was very unlucky at Auckland both days. I thought he went great, and then Mark's 2 horses, King's Landing and Winterfell. So it's going to be a great race, Jess.
Oh, it certainly is. And of course, harness Jules wise as well, you'd be very excited about the prospects of Spellbound. And gee, I really feel for you and Johnny's safety if she wins, because you're going to have about 300 witches chasing you onto the track.
Yeah, you did right there. I think I'll be holding Nigel down in the biggest trouble. I don't think his feet will touch the ground from the time he leaves the Ken Brecken winners bar to the time he hits the track.
It's just been such a great story for ownership, hasn't it?
Well, it has really. Nigel and Brenda have been superb because, we just started off with claiming horses, as I think you've done a show with him, and just having claiming horses and very, very low key, and just bringing a few friends into those horses that we'd claimed. And then it just went from there, and one day I said, look, I think Johnny and I talked one day and said we better try and take the next step, and we went to the sales and we start buying, 3 or 4 horses, and they're all nice horses, really, with one of them being a star, of course, which is a bonus to being so early in the sort of partnership of going to sales and trying to get horses that you're going to put quite a few owners into and have the excitement of having a real tough horse racing.
And of course, Robert, in your career you've won some massive races, but how does Jules Day stack up for you in terms of having horses competing there?
Oh, look, we love it. We haven't had much luck, Jess. We've only won one with Franco Nelson. We probably have had horses that needed to get a good draw to really have a winning chance, and unfortunately for us, it's never happened. We've normally had horses, our horses have normally drawn poorly on Jules Day as a rule. I mean, last year at Cambridge, we had probably, 3 or 4 horses with, outside winning chances, but they all drew really bad draws. So that sort of, put the end of their chances of winning the Jewel. So this year, we've probably got about 10 or 12 going around, and we have got 2 or 3 really strong winning chances. So we just hope that the draws are good to us, and the horses are good on the day, because I think Sundee's Son obviously a very, very good chance, and definitely Spellbound, and Tiffany Rose, to be fair, she's going sleeper as well. And other horses like Heisenberg's a real powerful front-running horse, that if he drew a marble and a 2-year-old above and beyond, and then they try to win Magic Kenny. So we've got some really good, strong winning chances.
Yeah, most certainly. Well, we've got fingers, toes, everything crossed for you, Robert, when those barrier draws come out. Thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again on reaching the dizzy heights of Group 1, but this time with a square gator.
Yeah, thanks very much, Jess, and you do a great job, and love listening to your show, so it's very good. Thank you very much.
In social media news headlines this week, starting off with New Zealand. As mentioned earlier, the latest Harness Jules invites have been announced. They're on our Facebook page if you want to find out more. Majestic Player, Pete's Big Jim and Falcon Stride, of course, joining Lululemon and Major Obsession as the former invites the week before. Feature racing also from Friday night in Eddington is on our HRNZ social from last Friday night. And there's a driver profile on Tim Williams and a Road to the Jules profile as well. From Australia, the Great Southern Star and former Jules Aussie Invite Dance Craze collected another feature win over the weekend. You can check out the Aussie news from Adam Hamilton, that's on the HRNZ website, or you can also follow Adam on Twitter for more information around news there. And from the US and Canada, a little bit quieter this week, but there has been a venue announcement for the 2020 North American Breeders' Crown. Next year it will return to Hoosier Park for just the second time, and for more information on that and also other US harness news, you can check out the US Trotting Association's Facebook page. Well, of course, we saw Spankem in impressive fashion pick up dual Group 1 success over the past 7 or 8 days in Auckland. And one of the names that feature alongside Spankem is co-breeder Robin Wah. Robin, welcome onto the show. And firstly, congratulations. Silly question, but how are you feeling following those 2 massive wins?
Well, on top of the world, really. I mean, just staggered by what he's done over the last few months and weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and to have a miracle mile in along that huge list of accomplishments for him. Did you ever dream when you started out in the breeding game that you'd be able to reach these heights?
Oh, look, I mean, this was just when I started breeding, it was really just Crusham. The dam was she had a bit of ability, but she was a bit of a head case, really. And so when we pulled the pin on the racing, my partners at the time, good friends of mine, decided they didn't want to pursue it any further, and I just thought I'd dip my toes into the water first and see how it all went, and I got lucky first time up.
Well, so your first broodmare or your first attempt at breeding has been out of Crusham, is that right?
Yes, that's She was our she was she was from the Armalite family, and I had an association with Vic Smith and Lil Smith at the time, and they were clients of mine, and they very kindly lent me the mare. Elizabeth then over for a couple of seasons, and that's how it all came about.
My goodness. And just looking through the success that Crusham has had at stud, as you mentioned, she had a promising enough racing career, but did you ever expect that she'd be able to leave the types that she has, because she's had great success with horses that have gone on to do very good things in Australia as well?
Well, you always hope, don't you? That's why you go down these paths, and I knew she had some bloodlines that we could tap into, and but no, not in my wildest dreams I think that we'd ever sort of have her sort of producing what she's left so far. Unbelievable, really.
Robin, have you been able to go and see Spankem win any of those feature races?
I saw him win the 2-year-old races at Eddington. He won the what did he win? He won the Group 1, the Sire Stakes.
Yep.
I saw him win. I saw him win his. I saw all his Eddington wins. Yes, I made a point of making sure I was there. But so I haven't seen the most recent ones, unfortunately.
So will you endeavour to travel around maybe in the new season when he's back in feature racing? Will that be a bit of an aim for you, maybe coincide it?
I mean, yes. I mean, I would have liked to have been there at the Miracle Mile, but we were actually, we were in Australia at the time, but we were in Melbourne at the time rather than Sydney, so we missed that one. I've got to sort of make that effort, and from all intents, I think he's going to be racing down here at Eddington early in the next season, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And so for you as the breeder, Robin, when your horse that you bred and you've been involved in, this bloodline for a while, when you see him come out and win a Miracle Mile or put these group successes together, do you feel like you're still attached to the horse? Like, is it still like you're still involved with him?
Oh yes, I do. I mean, look, I just get I feel really proud of having achieved what these horses have done so far, but I get a great thrill out of just watching them race and win, and I get a wee bit nervous when they're always lining up. I always think, oh no, there's got to be there's something better than him, and you just sort of try and dampen it down a bit.
Not get too much expectation.
No, I'd be a terrible owner.
So your breeding career, are you still able to breed from Crusham? Is she still producing for you?
Yes, she is. She's got a Art Major colt at the moment. It looks the part, and she's in foal to Art Major again.
Great.
So I think maybe at some point we might have to go and revisit Better's Delight again, I think. Yeah,
and I guess the question is, have you got a filly from the line, Robin, that you can carry on breeding?
Yeah. Yes, we have. We've got a full sister to Spankem.
Oh, great.
She was a bit like a mother, unfortunately. She showed some ability when she got broken in, but she's a little bit headstrong.
Oh, right.
So we haven't proceeded down the racing line with her, and we're actually breeding from her now, actually.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's so great to know that you're able to continue the bloodline, continue the dream run that you're having.
Yes. I mean, Crusham's sort of, she's about 19, I think, or something like that. So she'd be getting near the end of it in the next wee while.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd better hang on to this one.
Well, I think so. And going forward, Robin, I know it's we dare to dream, but would a New Zealand Cup victory be the ultimate for you?
Oh, unbelievable. That would be, I haven't been to many of them in the last few years, but I used to go there all the time. Every year I'd be there. So, yeah, it would be just magic if that ever happened. As you say, we dare to dream sometimes.
Well, that's what this whole industry is based on, isn't it? Just having that dream, like you did with Crusham, taking that chance, and look what's happened.
Yeah. I made a few missteps along the way, but that's always to be expected.
That's right. It just makes the highs even better, doesn't it?
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, Robin, it's been a pleasure to chat with you. As I say, we like to go down different avenues and different angles and find out about some of the names we see associated with these great horses. So congratulations to you and your wife on the win of Spankem, or the big wins he's had recently, and I'm sure come that second Tuesday in November you'll be in with a great chance with him.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Airpark Canterbury is Christchurch's only 24/7 privately owned off-site airport car parking. If you feel strongly about supporting privately owned business, support Airpark Canterbury. It's only a short drive to the airport in the Airpark Canterbury free shuttle. So if you want the cheapest parking option around, try Airpark Canterbury. Call 0800 Airpark or online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, a person that most people would know as a trainer in the industry, Sam Smolenski, is joining me on the show this week. And Sam, not only are you a trainer in the industry, but I understand you've gone into the chiropractic line of work. Can you tell us exactly how that happened?
Yeah, well, I worked for Fred Fletcher, my grandfather, for about 15 years, and I was sort of more involved in the training and driving, but started doing 2 or 3, and it was just a matter of practice made perfect, and Fred was a really good teacher, and just went from there. Just started off with 1 or 2 and never really advertised, just word of mouth really, and it's probably a bit better income than training horses.
Okay, and you're still training a few at the moment, but I'd imagine with the workload, are you finding that people now, Sam, are more open-minded in terms of getting a chiropractor to their horse?
Yeah, it's probably getting more common now. Probably some of the older trainers don't believe in it, but most trainers use them today. It's sort of a no-brainer, really. Just realign them and keep them happy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so walk us through what you would look at first and foremost with a horse. Can you physically tell just by looking at a horse, Sam, if something's wrong, or do you need to start feeling around certain points of the horse's back?
Yeah, well, you can look at muscle wastage and all that, but generally, as soon as you put your hand on a horse, you can sort of tell whether they're not right, and that just by working on all the pressure points. So, it's quite easy to, once you get a hang of it, how to put them back into shape.
Okay, and so do you use massage or what type of things, do you give advice on how people can train a horse differently or what they need to be doing for that particular injury or area that's affected?
Oh, no, if you get your horse chiropracted regularly enough, they seem to build more muscle up in the areas that they're sore, so it's just a matter of keeping the horse happy and not stressing them out too much, and generally... sort of heading in the right direction.
And I guess when you think about it, Sam, if someone's got a sore back or maybe they're not quite in alignment as a person, it would make sense for a horse that if they're going through a similar thing, then it could have far-reaching, impact on other parts of their body.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Well, I go to the chiropractor once a week, and it's just a matter of realigning yourself, and you feel so much better afterwards. So it's just the same for a horse, and you can tell the horse feels a lot better afterwards. They sometimes let out a sigh or lick their lips or something like that. So, it's got to help.
Yeah, exactly. I guess you are probably more in tune to watching signs of a horse when you're doing that kind of work for those telltale little clues as to what's happening.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can normally get a pretty good feel of them, but it's just a matter of keeping the horse happy, and like you sort of in those big races, you really need your horse to run straight as well. So if they're out in the neck or something, they're not going to run straight. So yeah.
And it can be even something, as I understand, as simple as, just having a roll in the paddock and maybe having a kink, or, it's not always obvious that something's happened.
Yeah, they can put themselves out in the paddock overnight, just if they're out with another horse and, feed time, and they run away from the other horse and just twist the wrong way. Yeah. But generally it's sort of just from racing. If a horse hasn't got a good conformation, they'll get sore. Generally the really good horses, they don't get as sore because they've got better conformation. Yeah.
Okay, and in terms of some of the horses you've worked on, as you say, Sam, the workload's getting larger and larger with the word of mouth, but have there been any particular horses or any particular instances where you've seen a pretty quick turnaround, or you've been really proud of being able to help a horse?
Oh, yeah, there's a few. Generally, like your trotters get sore, so I do a few for Mark Purdon in some of the bigger stables, and you sort of watch them, and they do get better each time you do them. So I sort of just keep an eye on them and see how they go. But the paces get sore as well, but they haven't got the trotters haven't got the hobbles to keep them in the gate. So generally, the trotters really need it more than the paces just to keep them in the gate.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're doing a fantastic job, and it's really great and cool to see, people starting to be open-minded in terms of looking after their horse and keeping the machine well-oiled. So, Sam, are you open? I know you're busy, but are you open if anyone gives you a call to come and have a look at their team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you can never turn down any work. Yeah, so, yep.
Yep, cool. Okay, so maybe if you're wanting to have your horse checked out by Sam in the Canterbury region, you can get in touch with him. Sam, I know you're busy, probably in between jobs and helping people out, so keep up the great work.
Yep, thank you, Jess.
Airpark Canterbury is Christchurch's only 24/7 privately owned off-site airport car parking. If you feel strongly about supporting privately owned business, support Airpark Canterbury. It's only a short drive to the airport in the Airpark Canterbury free shuttle. So if you want the cheapest parking option around, try Airpark Canterbury. Call 0800 Airpark or online at airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, of course, recently we did a report on Brendon Hill reaching another milestone in his training career, 200 New Zealand training wins. Benny, congratulations. And was it something that you were keeping an eye on, or did it just sneak up on you?
How you doing, Jess? No, I wasn't keeping an eye on it, but my staff were very aware of it. So I knew we were still at 190 and getting closer as we got a few more wins. So I was very aware of it right up to the end.
And really nice too for you to reach that milestone with not only a double on the day, but to have Ricky May in the bike.
Absolutely. And it was nice to do it at Timaru. And Ricky's been a long-time driver, as everybody knows. He's still my number one driver if I can get him. And it was really special moment, really.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking back through some of the horses you've been associated with, Benny, of course, the likes of Monkey King and Bailey Stream, but you even look back at the likes of Paratara, Carabella and Tennis Ball. Man, you've been associated with some very talented types.
Yeah, I've been very lucky earlier on, and like you say, with Monkey King and Carabella and Robert Dunn and Paratara. Been very spoiled, really, but I've been very lucky to be around some really, really nice horses.
Yeah. And in terms of your career starting out, what made you transition to the training side of things after driving initially?
I always wanted to be a driver, and I think I was all right at driving, I suppose, but I think I enjoyed the training more and just took that path. I think with being with Stephen Reid, I was very lucky and he gave me a good go as a junior driver, and then after that, as everyone knows, it can get quite tough. And I just thought, I sort of went down that training path, and it just carried on from there, really.
Yeah. And Brendon, I know you like to set high standards for yourself, but are you quite tough on yourself, or do you set high goals each season?
I feel like I had a bit of a quiet patch there for a few years. I feel like I'm back on track now, and like I think I've said before, Ricky keeps me on my toes. He can be coming pretty angry off the track when the horses aren't rigged up right or going right or something's not quite right with gear. So yeah, I am tough on myself, but he keeps him on my toes, which is really good.
Yeah, and I know you've always been open-minded in terms of training regimes or trying things outside of the square. Do you still try and look at those types of things with your horses if things aren't sitting right?
Absolutely. I think I'm still learning, and I think I'm getting better as a trainer all the time, and trying different things, and just how to train them and how hard to work them or not work them. And I'm on a different track now, so it's a lot smaller than Dance on Moonlight. So you got used to that 1,000-metre track for a long, long time, and now it's a lot smaller, like a half mile. So you do change things there a bit, and track's basically my main thing. I don't have the beach or a walker or a swimming pool at the moment, so the track's very important to me.
Yeah. And are you open to people approaching you, Benny, maybe if they're looking for a change of scenery for their horse, or maybe just a different set of eyes over them?
Yes, yeah, it depends who it is, but yeah, I'm open to suggestions. Like I say, it depends who it is, but yeah.
Good on you. Well, Benny, congratulations again. I know you're a very busy man. 200 New Zealand training wins. It's no small achievement. It's a huge effort by you and the team. So congratulations again.
Thanks a lot, Jess.
And of course, at this stage of the podcast every week, we catch up with Richard Wilson, who kindly informs us on the big winning and losing bets of the week, harness racing wise. And starting off, Richard, we had Palmerston North last Tuesday kicking off their 2-day meet, and punters kicked it off well by the looks of things there.
Yeah, they certainly did. Early start there on the Tuesday, and race one, such fun. It was all the rage there. The best bet, 2,000 at 240. And 1,000 at 230, but there were a whole heap of bets around about the $500 mark on such fun. The other one they got stuck into, Casey Cullen, did the most damage to us in race 3, $5,000 and a $1,500 bet at the 190. Luckily, there were a couple big bets that missed. 5,000 on the Capity Express at $1.90 to run the top 3. There was 2,000 on Ahoka Johnny at 320. 1,700 on Vladimir at 250, and there was 800 on Ruby Star at 11.
Okay, so that of course was day one of the meet, and on Thursday night we returned, and yeah, Michael House, he just loves to dominate Manawatu, doesn't he?
Yeah, they'll be naming a street or something after him shortly, I'm sure, in Palmerston North. But it was that combo, the House Orange combo, very popular again, especially in race 7. Shot in the dark, got home for the punters there, $10,000 on at $1.65. $2,500 and $5,000 bets at the 160. It wasn't overly impressive, but it got the job done nonetheless, so well done to the punters there. There were earlier $1,000 bets on Jackhammer Joe at 350 and Ahoka Johnny at 330 for the same combo, so punters were quite happy there. A few that went our way there, a $2,500 bet and $2,300 bet on Such Fun to back up at the 180. That didn't happen, luckily. $2,500 on Mogul at 250. There was $1,600 on Brooks Image at $6 and a $2,000 bet Kayla Maguire at 5.
Okay, and of course Friday night, Premier Harness Racing at Alexandra Park, and yeah, it did look pretty straightforward in terms of racing patterns, but a few movers?
Yes, indeed. Well, the Messenger looked, it proved to be a straightforward leader-dominated race, but there were plenty of moves in the betting before the race got underway. The big mover, of course, Spankem, opened at $3.60 into $1.95 around midday, then back out slightly to $2.20 as the money eventually came for Turn It Up. The best bet's on Spankem. The best bet there, $8,600 at $2.20. There was $1,500 and $1,200 bets at $3.50 as well. But the best back runner in the end was Turn It Up, $1.65 on opening, out to 2, and then back in to start the 180 favourite. Ended up being our worst result had he have won. So the punters there, $2,000 on at 180, $1,200 bets at both $2 and $1.95, and a whole heap of bets again around the $500 mark on Turn It Up. And the other big mover, of course, Chase Auckland. He was a big drifter. He opened 360 out to $9. And interestingly, there was almost the same number of individual bets on him as there was on Turn It Up, but the value of those bets was only a fraction of the Turn It Up bets. And the big win, a big win there in the Row Cup for Sundee Sun. Best bet there, $700 at 5. Other good returns from the night, $2,000 on In the Shadows at 260, $400 on Miss Blissful at 850, $2,000 Press the Bell at 340. $7,000 bet on Turn It Up to run the top 3 at $1.07. Small fish sweet there. And a couple of the missed. Tiger Swift, $882 on at $18. $4,000 on Gambit at $260. $3,000 Lot of Muscle at $270. $1,200 Massive Metro at $550. And $4,800 Massive Metro to run the top 3 at $2. And $1,000 on Majestic Man at $390, and also a late $2,000 Phoebe Imperial bet at $650.
Yeah, so giving you a bit of grace there at the end of that premiere night. And of course we had Eddington on Friday night as well. Were the punters very active there, Richard?
Not quite so much. The focus was Auckland, but it was a fairly tough afternoon there at Eddington for the punters. The best bet was a beauty though, $11,000 on Ashley Locas to win at $1.85. Other handy collects there, $2,000 on the debutante Only Me at $290, $2,100 on Better Than Fast at $460, and $500 on Chic and Dance at $9. The big misses, $6,000 on Smooth Deal at $1.70, $4,000 at $340, and $1,800 at $280 on Heisenberg, $2,200 on Uptown Lady at $360, and $2,000 at $330. Overzealous, there was $2,000 on there at $320. And there was $1,000 at $950 and $4,700 to run the top 3 at $3.10 on Maria Serena. It's been very heavily backed in its recent starts, Maria Serena, but just starting to deliver there. Similar bet there, $2,700 on Ere I Go at $360, $2,400 Doff Your Cap at $650, $2,000 Pro Surfer at $260, and there was a couple of $1,000 bets on Globe Trekker at $330. $1,000 on Monaro Maro at $6, and $500 bets on Bad to the Bone, both 21 and 17.
Okay, and from Eddington we headed back down south Saturday, Invercargill. Bit of damage done there by the looks.
Yeah, we were going all right there until Pitch Perfect got home in the middle of the card there. $10,000 bets on him at both 175 and 160. The other one that they got us on, Dallas Grimes, $3,000 there at 420. And $1,000 on Chuckles at $320. They were doing the damage, and then $2,000 top 3, the White Rabbit at $260. So some nice returns there. The big mover on the day, somewhat surprisingly, was Dun Robin in race 6. Opened at $23, backed in to start the $5 favourite. The biggest bets there, $2,000 at the closing price of $5. There's $500 on at $15 earlier on. There was a whole stack of bets on her, and she didn't really go that well. So, but may pay to keep an eye on Dun Robin. Only a few other big misses there. $1,000 on Cheddar Made Better at $320, $1,000 on Tulsa Jacker at $450, and $1,000 on Rebel with a Grin to run the top 3 at $3.
Yeah, and speaking of top 3s, it looks as though that was a popular option for the punters at Rangiora on Sunday as well.
Yes, indeed. It was. All the winning bets there were top 3 bets. Wow. $1,000 on Questar at $350, $800 on the Bloss at both $460 and $450, $900 on He's Fast and Furious at $420. So all good, very good returns there. A few big misses, $1,800 to win at $650, and $8,000 top 3 on Miss Pinocchio at the place bet there $220. There was $3,000 on Miss Moppet at $3, $2,000 on Dreams in the Mist at $370, and $1,000 on the Optimist at $420.
Okay, that's the racing side of things, and of course every week you kindly label a multi of the week and also the cash out options. But multi-wise, what are you labelling this time round?
Well, I've got 2 multis, depending on your budget. The first one's probably is My League, $50, 3-league multi. Vendima at Riccarton to run the top 3, $5.75. Into Mahez to run the top 3 at Invercargill, $5.75. And ended on Star Ruler, top 3 at $3.30, also at Invercargill. So that $50 multi returned $5,455.
Gee, yeah, that looks like my budget too, Richard. But for those who are a bit bigger fish playing, what have you got?
Yeah, if you got a bit more to play with, $12,000 multi, again 3 legs. Smooth Deal, cleverly for a top 3 at $1.10. And Heart Your Calm at $1.40, but nervous there. And then ending on Sweet on Me at $1.15. So $12,000 spend returned $21,252.
Yeah, heart attack material with Enhance Your Calm. And the worst cash out of the week?
The worst cash out there, $50 multi, they In the Shadows at 3, Press the Bell to run the top 3 at $1.48, ending on Only Me to run the top 3 at $1.42. Would have returned $315, but cashed out before Only Me won the race for $172. So let us off the hook a little bit there. And the best cash out of the week, a $10 4-leg multi. Only Me figures again at $3. Nandolo at $3.10. In the Shadows at $3. And Ideal Star at $2.70. So the potential there for that $10 to turn into $753. But they wisely cashed out for $216 before Ideal Star went down by a head.
Yeah, good on them too. Having that foresight sometimes would be really, really nice, wouldn't it? But in terms of the week ahead, it looks busy enough. And gee, the big question for a lot of people, Richard, is where is You May Collect going to line up?
It'll be at Winton, I'm pretty sure. Forbury Parks kicks off on Thursday. Eddington, we've got the Neveliar Fillies Final, 2-year-old Trot Sales Final, and Aged Trotters Classic. At Auckland on Friday, so a couple of good races there too. Winton, I'm pretty sure You May Collect will turn up there, or he'll be in the paddock, one of the two. And on Saturday, and on Sunday, it's Mother's Day feature race meeting at Timaru.
Yeah, certainly is, with the invited lady drivers races there as well. Richard, thank you so much, as always, for your time. I know you're frantically getting busy for the week ahead. And just of note too, those Harness Jewels markets are open and they're trucking along nicely as well.
Yeah, they're open, and there'll be a bit of change. I think there's going to be there's already been some withdrawals this morning. Chase Auckland's out of the 4-year-old race and a couple of other ones there. We've added Oscar Bonavina at $260 into the 3-year-old Ruby, and he's proving quite popular. He's got to get some money this week. He's nominated at Eddington, so all eyes on there. But yeah, they're all open, and they'll be. If you go to have a bet on them and they are suspended, it should be only temporarily while there's something coming out or something going in. So just bear that in mind and try again later.
And coming up, harness racing wise this week in New Zealand. Starting off Thursday night, we're down to Forbury Park in Dunedin. Friday, Premier Harness Racing returns to Eddington this time, including the Neveliar Fillies Final. Also, Auckland will be on hand that evening as well. Saturday, we see Winton in the Deep South. And on Sunday, it's a special annual Timaru meeting for Mother's Day. They feature the ladies, invited lady drivers races too, but don't forget about their Mother's Day breakfast from 10 a.m. That's on course in the Greyway Lounge. You can have a cooked or continental breakfast with support going to the Pink Ribbon Appeal. So if you want to find out more, please do get in touch with Liz Shand and the team there at the Timaru Harness Racing Club. And that is it for this week's Harness Half Hour. Thanks to Airpark Canterbury and also HRNZ Marketing. Don't forget the podcast is available via the HRNZ website, the HRNZ Facebook page, on Punters Lounge, which is on tab.co.nz, also on Spotify and iTunes.